So you can't serve two masters. You have to have a master or the other. You cannot serve two kingdoms. There are separate kingdoms here. One is the kingdom of heaven, and one is the kingdom of this world. And I really think we blow it on this one. I think the master, the one that you're working for, actively supporting and being supported by, being in labor to, being in servitude to. How many times has someone said, I'm a debt slave? I am going to my slave job and working for my slave boss. It is acknowledged. We speak this. We say this. It's to say that this is not a thing. It really is. And let's just be honest about it. Now, I do want to say this is not an attack on anybody particularly. This is just my honest opinion. And this is how I see it. It's a general tendency. I'm speaking generalities. I'm not attacking or accusing anyone. And you can agree with me or not agree with me. But to me, I think most people serve money. That is just the way it is. How much time, attention, effort, 40 hours a week, 30 hours a week, 20 hours a week, you are supporting and being supported by money, the monetary system, which money is, currency is, fiat is not real. It is a fiction. It's a fictitious thing that we build in our mind. And yet we go after it from cradle to grave. We serve money. We go after the kingdom of money. We work for it. We don't think we can live without it. It's in the front of our minds. It's the action of our hands. It's on our foreheads. It's on our hands. So how do we change that? Is that even the case? And it goes on further. You cannot serve God and mammon. So you cannot serve Theos. Now that is different than a master. Theos that means the Most High. That is the Mamonos. And it's more than money. It is the wealth, the treasures. It is the worldly treasures, laying up the wrong kind of treasures. It is that it's more than just money, but it's what the money can buy. And it is what you're seeking after. It's what you treasure in the worldly sense. As it's opposed to the kingdom. You have the kingdom of the wealth, and then you have the kingdom of the Most High, which is different. And a lot of people say that heaven is the kingdom of the Most High, like up there in the clouds. And down here in this realm, I think that you can have, I think there's the tale of two cities going on here. I think there are two different realms at play. I think there is that whole serve the kings of the earth thing, and there's the whole, if we're truly going to serve our Father, the Creator, the Most High, what does that look like? And where does our time, attention, and energy, our focus, and the work of our hands, and what we contemplate in our minds, and what we teach our children, which one are we focusing on? Just honestly, where is our treasure, and what do we seek? Now, some will say, I'm just going to die and go to heaven, and I'll finally. That's not what I'm talking about. I think that it's a battle for this realm, here and now. And unless you put money in its proper context, the things that you desire and strive for, and the things that you're teaching your children to strive, it needs to not be so money based. I'm not accusing anyone of serving money, but what is it, honestly? Doesn't matter what I say, what I think. What is it to you? Where is your time, attention, and effort really going? Is it really serving one kingdom, the other? Do you understand the difference? Do you seek to do differently? Or is it just what's going on? Fine. Because the kingdom of money and treasures and convenience and luxury, we're going to be losing that. We're losing it rapidly with the money is devaluing. The reality of the fake money is coming to bear. Money is fake. It's only in the eye of the beholder does it have any value. It's no different than monopoly money. And we're going to figure this out. We're going to see this. This happened before. This happened in 1929, which, when you look at that, they had a gold-based money then. They had 90% of people living in the country, 10% in the cities. People had skills and knew how to work the land, and millions starved. And the money, it was only the debt market that really broke. They still had silver, gold to go out and spend and get what they needed, but everything broke just based on that debt market. And what we'll be facing is 100 times worse. The magnitude will be larger, and the scope, because humanity is not really capable of taking care of itself in the same way it used to. The complete and utter dependence on money is going to destroy a lot of people. So this is why I bring this up. Let us switch our focus, try to get a different understanding, and perhaps work on serving a different kingdom here now, instead of handing it over, saying we can't do anything about it. Let's just establish the kingdom of heaven here if we can. And let's focus on not living by money. It's a big thing. It's a hard thing to think about. But I would suggest that if you can get it without money, why don't we try that? Do you have to have money to have your food? Do you have to have money to have your energy? Do you have to have money to take care of your sewage and your water and your heat? Can you live without money to a much greater degree than you are? And if you're in the city, no, absolutely not. You can buy a bunch of stuff, stock it up, but it's the thief comes, the moth comes, stocking up and storing. I'm all for preparedness, but how far is that going to take you? We really need to be producers, because if you're just sitting on a bunch of stocks, you open your first can, you're already running out. So hoarding stuff is not necessarily the answer. It's just kind of like an intermediate step. And I'm all in favor of that. Have some food on the shelf, great. But at some point, you're going to need to know how to produce. So this is what I'm saying. Don't produce for the monetary system and make all the parasites and hangers-on and clingers to the money issuers, the bankers, we call them the elites, whatever. They're parasites. They're not elites. But how do we get them out of the picture? Well, we just quit using their money. So we start living in the ways. We make our own food, we make our own water, we get our animals, our plants, we get our own fertility. We do things locally, so we don't need all this transportation. We talk in person, so we're not tracked and chipped, and every last word we say, you go out and talk to someone face to face. So come together and live in this realm and do what you need to do to live, not using money. And yes, we're going to have to use some money, but if we could reduce its importance to us and we put it as a secondary measure, our primary inputs is growing enough for you and your people that are close by, in your neighborhood, your village, your clan. We all have milk and dairy and meat, and you only need one mechanic for every 3 or 4 little sets of people. You only need one doctor, one dentist for every so. Most people just need to be generally producing what you need. Life essential goods. Everybody needs to know how to do it. And then that second hat you put on, that second business card, that's your skills. And you expend your skills primarily to those around you. But it's a marketable skill. You could go out and get some value. Great. But I think everybody just wants to have their job, and everybody else has their job. And I think that's kind of dismantled what it really means to be a human, just a generalist living and adapting to your environment. Kind of like the homesteading idea. Why despise that? It's very common. It's like, I'm not going to get in the dirt. That's for dirty people. And it's like, there is this new appreciation for homesteading, but it's kind of like the selfie moment stuff. It's just shallow, and it's not the real deal. Let's do this to live. So homesteading, if you're getting towards the off-grid homesteading, if you're getting towards the self-reliant, self-sustaining local economy. That's all part of it. It's just not homesteading. Homesteading is just not really the answer by itself because of what the word means now. So if you're spending your time serving that, you say, well, how is that serving God? Well, now you're tapping into the natural order and you're getting supported by all the different ways you capture solar energy, basically. Firewood, plants go to the animals. Everything comes from the grass, basically, or the tree. But that's all just rain and soil, and that's all in place. You don't have to go out and truck that in. It's right outside your door if you're not in the city. You're out in the country. So get out in the country, learn how to do these things, and live close to the land, and then you won't need money. And if there's things that you can do and don't like to do, then you find people to cooperate with. But at the point where we don't need money anymore, now we're living in a different kingdom. We're relying more on just the rain and the seasons and the day and the night. We're not relying on our paycheck. We're relying on the seed. We're tying into the natural order. So to me, that is closer to the created nature of who man was supposed to be. Not this idea of serving money. It's cradle to grave. And it's like we can break free of that. I guess that's all I had to say for today. And in doing these more simple things, getting closer to the created nature, you will see more of the Creator in more of His ways. There's so many lessons in the garden. It's astounding. You just learn so much that it really can't be conveyed until you do it. You work in the garden. You have the sheep and the goats. You have cows, and it's just profound. And it's a better way. It's just you really won't have to slave and work so hard because you're not supporting everybody else. You're just, the whole general world, the money issuers and the corporations, and what is it that any of that is really good for us? What is it that you really desire? Do you really desire those worldly treasures, or do you really desire something else? Because people are way more important than money. And everybody wants to put money first. And it's like, let's just set money aside and make people more important. And let's have that attitude. And it could look different. And yes, it's going to be very hard to get rid of money. I understand that. But you can live by something else than just money. Because who is your master? Truly, who is it that you serve? And I'm not talking mental assent. I'm talking day to day. Where is your butt? Where is your mind? Where is your hand? Where are you sitting? Where are you standing? Where are you walking and working? And what are you driving to? Where are you going? Whose kingdom are you serving? And just be honest. You don't answer to me. Answer to yourself. But ask the question and take stock. Audit that. I think it's important, and I think we need to change our dependencies because one kingdom is a lot better to work for than the other. At the end of the day, you can make a list of pros and cons, and you can really look at it and analyze it, and you can just see the beauty of one system versus the other. Now, the problem is one system you really need people working together. Other people are part of this more, I'm going to say kingdom of heaven, created order. You got to have people, and you got to be close and working together and be concerned for each other. But aren't we all missing that as it is? Here, there, and everywhere, school, work, buying houses here and there, and the families all shredded. And it's like, that's not working out. Because then you have to have money. And yeah, let's make a little money and pay our taxes. Who cares? Let's go squeeze the silver coin out of a fish. Pop. It's just money. Who cares? Just give it to them. Be at peace with them. Take your tax money. Leave me alone. That's my attitude on that. You can go to war and try not to, but it's just not that important. It's just a little money. It's, oh, money, taxes. Just give it to them and go on. If you're all together working and cooperating and you have your excess industry and after your needs are met and everybody's needs are met around you, that extra money, that can be your industry, your commerce, or when you have an abundance above and beyond what you need, then you trade that or you sell it or whatever, but you can get a little money that way. but it's a secondary thing. It could be a secondary thing with the right systems in place and the right people in place. So, and guess what? It's coming to the point where we're going to have to do this anyway, y'all. You might as well just choose to do it now while you still can and it's easier. While the money's still working and you can get what you need to get. Start working on it now, because later when things break and everybody's scrambling for the few resources that it takes to do this, it's just gonna be very difficult. It's gonna be a difficult thing. So right now it's as easy as it's ever gonna be. You just have to set your mind to it and prioritize it. And I feel strongly about this. I feel that this is important, because if we can all take care of ourselves, we're not going to be having to go take from each other, hurt each other. We can be helping and cooperating instead of destroying, pillaging, stealing, and being entitled and just using force. It's important to serve the right kingdom. It's important to consider what that looks like. And this is not the end all be all of this conversation. This is more like the impetus for I would like to have the conversation get started and see where it goes. So if this rings true to you or interests you in any way and you want to continue, let's talk. I think it's one of the most important conversations we could be having right now. So anyway, I want to thank you for taking the time to listen to this, and remember to be the light walking in dark places. So wiggle out.